What's up, you guys, and welcome to another episode of 31 Views. And I'm about to review The House's October Build 2. Was released on September 22nd of this year, 2017, and directed by Bobby Rowe, and it's produced by Zach Andrews. And this movie, now it picks up right off where the first one left us, and that was exactly the intention going in. Them wanting to do a movie that felt organically a sequel rather than it taking place many years later. Although the first 5 minutes, it does continue what happened, but after that, it fast forwards a year, and at that point, like a year later, the people involved have become sort of internet celebrities, and especially Brandy. Brandy is known as Coffin Girl, and the guys, with all the with all the notoriety going into this, they decide to go. They're asked by many, I guess, many sponsors that, hey, you should do another show and stuff like that. You're gonna get paid a lot of money, and of course they were like, yeah, sure, we're definitely gonna do that, despite everything that happened in the first one. And and I know it that kind of ruined ruined the first one for you just now by me saying this, but hey, you should have seen the first one first before going into the second one. Now this one, it completely betrays the greatness of the first one, being that you were guessing all the time and being like, hey, is this real, is this not, and everything, and with all the facts leading up to it, and every stories that were shown in, like, newspapers and stuff like that, and news outlets. In this one, they pretty much pull no punches and pretty much go out there and just say that, yeah, the whole thing is a work. They keep saying this to you, but at the same time, they're trying to plant a seed of doubt. But it's like, at this point, it's like The Boy That Cried Wolf. It's like, yeah, you know what? It's I'm not falling for it again. And as it goes along, you kind of, they're trying so hard and making you think, hey, this is not real, and at the same time they're like, but maybe it is. Like they're trying to be really, really cute with this, but at the same time, I'm watching this and I'm like, no, everything is lost. It's completely lost. And the guys in here, they don't have the same chemistry that they did in the first one. While in the first one, it felt like, friends coming together and actually making a movie, and them trying their best in, showing what they're passionate about. Here, it felt like they were going by the numbers and pretty much doing whatever it takes to make it look like a Hollywood movie. And yes, the budget is much larger than the first one, and it shows right away, but at the same time, it's nowhere near as good as as big budgeted as a Hollywood movie. So they kind of play to their weaknesses rather than their strengths, and their strengths was always storytelling and conversations. And here's one thing that really bothered me, is that yes, there were great shots, there's great cinematography, but at the same time, it takes away so much of the dialogue. Like you have, like let's say Brandy talking to somebody, and and there's like an interesting dialogue going on there, and you're supposed to be focusing on what they're saying, but the camera's veering off to different sites, and it's like, we're not like we're not like babies. This is not made for babies, where we have short attention spans, and you gotta veer off to other things where dialogue is not important. Because in the first one, that's what it built upon. It built upon the backs of dialogue and the camaraderie between the characters. Here, they're so far from each other. There's no connection. The dialogue is very lacking. The emotion is not there. And most of them, especially like Brandy, it feels like, yeah, she's not the same anymore. She's far taken away from this movie. But at the same time, she's actually the best kid. She's the best character in this movie, because I remember like the first 20 minutes of this movie, she was like a little bit here and there. She was popping in and out, but she was popping in and out, and I kind of missed her, and I was like, yeah, the group is not the same without her. I hope that she shows up later on. And then when she does, it does not pick up. She doesn't add anything to it, even though that she's probably the one that is she's probably the best actress of the bunch. But at the same time, everybody's not bringing their A game. So it's like being it's like what Jim Cornette says. It's like being the nicest guy in prison. It's like being the nicest guy in prison. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just what do you want? And it's like, you're not gonna get a medal for it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like, that's all I gotta say. This movie was not good. It was not good at all. And it's so saddening. It's so saddening that this movie fell off a cliff, because it did not need to it didn't need to live up to the first one. It didn't need to exceed the first one, or be like a better sequel or like a better movie than the first one. All it needed to do was use the fundamentals from the first one and do something different. Hey, if you're not going to do a found footage movie, then don't do it. Okay, fine. Make it like an actual movie, and make it about the characters, and them being pretty much trying to cope with the events that happened in the first one. It would have been better. But what they did was a mishmash of the worst aspects of found footage movies in this generation, and they put it together, and it had a few moments that I was like, yeah, this is cool, but at the same time, they went with like the haunted houses were cool. Some of them I was like, yeah, you know what, I wouldn't mind checking them out, and it's not the same as the first one. The first one really felt like, those haunted houses really felt scary, like to the point where I'm like, no way, no fucking way I'm going in there. Like, I was disturbed by those. Here, it's like, oh, it's cool, I wouldn't mind checking those out. So yeah, don't watch it. Save your time, save your money. Don't check this out. Watch the first one and just leave it be, because this really is a slap in the face of the first one. I give this movie a star and a half, if I'm being generous. It's nowhere. I wouldn't even say it's like even a commendable movie on its own, because the structure is so horrible, and not just that, but it just doesn't know what it wants to be. You know, it was completely lost, and the last half, I was so fucking bored. I was like, damn. And I was looking at the timeline, and it was like, oh, it's an hour and 40 minutes, but it felt like 3 hours. Like, you know, it was so fucking slow. Unlike the first one, where it was like, you know, it was going quick, but at the same time, those, you know, disturbing moments really were, you know, it felt like a while. And, you know, and it pulled you in, you know. So in a good way, the first one felt longer, but this one just was boringly and excruciatingly long. So, with that being said, Raycon favorite, happily subscribe, and yeah, don't check this out. Check out my next video where I'll be talking about something else.